Today we start with Java architecture. The various components of Java architecture are the Java programming language and class file, JVM, Java application programming interface. So in a Java architecture, three things is present. The first part is your Java programming language and class file. As you know that when you are writing a Java program, you have to store with the extension of .java like this one. So we store the extension of .java. Then by using of Java compiler, which is Java C, then it converts your source code to the bytecode. Bytecode is nothing but it is a 0 and 1 format. As you know that computer doesn't understand any programming language. Computer only understands the bytecode, that is a 0 and 1 format. So for converting your programming language to the bytecode, we're using a compiler or translator. So here the Java compiler is your Java C. Then the bytecode is converted to the machine code by using of Java interpreter. Okay, like when the PM Modi is giving a speech on the USA, the USA people will understand the English. But now PM Modi is giving a speech on the form of a Hindi. Then there is a translator is present who is translating, is receiving the Hindi language and translating to the English medium. The similar way, if the person is going to the what France, the people are usually understand the what France language. So in that part, also, if you say in Hindi, the translator is present, you will receive the language in Hindi and translate into the French language. So these are the conversion is happened by using of compiler. The compiler receive one language and translate it into the another language and deliver it. So compiler in the Java programming language is like that. You are writing the program or you are writing a source code. The source code is not understood by the computer. Computer is only understand 0 and 1 format. Then the compiler is converted into the medium format, that is a 0 and 1. Then 0, 1, 1 to the machine code. If you want to display in the Windows operating system, Windows machine code is used. If you want to display that thing in Ubuntu operating system, Ubuntu machine code is used. Linux machine code is used to show the record in the or show the data in a desired format. So here what happened, the first of all, in the first stage of architecture, your Java program are saved with the extension of .java. Java file is compiled and generated the .class file which contains the bytecode. So there is a JVM is present. JVM is called as the engine of Java. All programming instruction, how to write the program and what are the syntax are there, all the rules and regulation that is defined in the Java JVM. The JVM convert this bytecode into the that contained in the .class file into the machine code. So that the JVM needs to be implemented for each platform running on the different operating system. So here your JVM is required. If you want to run your application, run your Java application in anywhere, so you require the JVM. The JVM forms the base of all Java platform. It is called the engine of Java. JVM contains three parts. One is class loader, execution engine, and JIT compiler. Class loader work is Java is only loaded the particular function or particular predefined classes when there is a requirement. If you take an example in C programming language, you are including a header file like stdio. So I am given a task that you have to print a statement hello. For printing a statement hello, when you write stdio in the C programming language, then as you know that your printf and scanf is loaded. Printf is used for display the data, scanf is used to accepting the input from the user. But as you return stdio, then automatic to method is loaded. But in the case of Java, it is not happen. If you want to display anything, only that particular portal is used. like the particular syntax that we are using for display, that particular function is loaded. It is not loaded any unnecessary function. For display text in a screen, we're using the, if you're writing the same for display text in the screen, if you write this program in a C program or in the Java, so you write the code and save the file. If the file size is 5 KB and 5 KB in both ends, after compilation, the C program, maybe the executable file is converted to the 10 KB, but in the Java it is lesser than that, because Java is not loaded the unnecessary function. So that is the work of class loader, which is only loaded the particular class which is required at runtime. And execution engine, which is responsible for converting your source code to the machine code. So what are the stages are completed in between Java file to the machine code? It is all what measured or monitored by your Xavier. Just-in-time compiler, which is used to convert your bytecode to the machine code. If when you compile the Java application or source code, it converted to the bytecode. Then bytecode to the machine code, it will convert by using of just-in-time compiler, JIT compiler. Next, Java Application Programming Interface, Java API. As you know that by using of Java, you can create a character user interface, or you can create a GUI application, you can create a web application. For designing the graphic user interface, what are the tools and component is required? It is present in the Java API too. Okay, so it is loaded the tools that is required for your GUI application. When you are working, when you want to work with the graphic user interface designing, so it is providing you that functionality, and you call that packages or module, then you are working on that. You can say that in the C programming language, we are using math.h. When you include the math.h, you are able to do the work with mathematical function. The similar way, if you want to work with the some graphic user interface application or some file input output application, it contains the predefined API. So when there is a requirement, you call that API and work on it. So in this API, the related class and interface of the Java API are grouped into the packages. So when you require any kind of packages, you have to call it. The Java architecture consists of the following security feature. One is your compiler level security. Next is bytecode verifier. Next is class loader. Another is sandbox model. Okay. So what is that compiler level security? Java prevent error that arise due to the improper memory uses, reducing the compile time error. Typecasting in Java ensure that there is no data loss in the result or output of a Java code. Suppose you are defining three variables, int a, b, and c. In a, if you pass the value, suppose if you take an example, here I pass here, just a minute, I enlarge the size. Suppose I'm defining some integer variable that you know in the C programming language, int a, b, and c. I'm defining three variables. Now my work is what I have to pass c equals to a divisible by b. So in a I pass 20, in b I pass suppose 2. Then when you execute this line, it gives you the result. Okay. Now what happened? If you pass here a equals to 20, suppose 10, b equals to 3, then what will be the result? The result is, if you calculate in the by using a calculator, 10 divided by 3 is 3.33333. You are expecting that your result will be 3.333, but as you are defining an integer, then it will only gives you the result 3. Means your point value that is lost. Okay, suppose you are calculating the rank in an exam. If the people are getting the same mark, so they evaluate the fraction number. Then according to that, they declare as which person is the first. And when the people are in a running competition in Olympics, the point or fraction value is also having an importance. Okay, swimming competition, the fraction value is having an importance. But here, if you are working on this value, working in this program, and if you define int, after the fraction value, it is not showing you that result. It is only showing you the whole number. Means your data is lost. So Java is providing you functionality that at runtime you can convert one data type to the another data type. So typecasting in Java ensure that there is no data loss in the result or output of a Java code. So what are the input you are taken from the screen? That is a string value. If you are passing an integer value, suppose 10, 20, so it is not a integer value. It will take or it will accept as an integer value. Then we convert this integer value as a string, integer value as a numeric format. Anything that you are taken from the user screen, that is a string or character value. Then after taking the value for your arithmetic operation, you can convert it into the corresponding format. So that is happened by using of typecasting. So there is no data loss in the Java. At runtime, you can convert one data type to the another data type. Then bytecode verifier, it ensures that the bytecode doesn't violate access restrictions such as read and write operation, and verify that the bytecode doesn't false pointer. When you are compiling Java application, it converted to the dot class. Okay, and you can take that dot class file anywhere. It will show the result. If anybody has deleted your source code, there is no matter. If you have dot class file, take that dot class file anywhere, and it will give you same result. If anybody trying to modify that record, or if you want to include any kind of pointer over there, it is not working, because that class file is only contain the symbolical format, so that it cannot do any kind of modification over there. The bytecode is verified into the two phases. In the first phase, the verifier checks the structure of the dot class file. So according to the JVM specification, your class is written correctly or not, your code is written correctly or not, it will check in the first phase. You given the proper punctuation like semicolon, colon, that the thing you are given or not, it is checked in the first phase. In second level phase occurs when the bytecode is run. The bytecode verifier checks the validity of the classes. Means where you have to use the classes. Okay, like we're using some kind of public, private in a C++ program. So where you can give the rights to access your variable and your giving a rights to access your program, to whom you are giving a rights. So that will check in the second level phase. It occurs when the bytecode is run. The bytecode verifier checks the validity of the classes, where you have to use, till when it is valid, and the method that used in a program. So it is checked in the second level phase. As already we discussed that class loader determine how and when the applet will use classes in a running Java environment. In Java environment, there can be many class loader, and each class loader can create its own runtime environment. The class loader load all the applet and their references. The class loader work is what? It is only loaded the particular class which is required at runtime. Okay, like you have math.h in the C program. So when you are writing math.h, you can do the mathematical function. A similar way, when you are include math.h function, then it is create a mathematical environment, and you are able to work with all the mathematical function in C program. The similar way in the Java also, it contains some kind of predefined package. If you want to work with that package, you have to mention it, like IO package. If you want to work with a database, then SQL package you can include. If you want to work with the what file object, then you can include the file stream object. You can include the file package over there. So when you include the package, it creates its own runtime environment, and you able to work with that particular class structure. Next is sandbox model. The sandbox model is implemented in the Java applet container, such as web browser. The sandbox model determines the limitation of Java applet, and they can only access the resources of the host computer and cannot access the file on the local computer. Previously, what happened, when all the systems are present in a network, the client can access the information from a server. Okay, so there is a one end is there. Client can giving a request to the server. Server can get the information from the client. But if client and server are present in a network, if one client want to connect with the another client, it doesn't happen. It wasn't either. But by using of sandbox model, this problem gives you solution that one client can connect to the server and you can share the information, and one client is connecting to the another client. Okay, so these are the Java technique is available in the sandbox model, where it is helpful in the sector of sharing the information through a network. Next comes to the garbage collection. Garbage collection is the process that is used to free the memory of the object that are no longer in use. When a program stops referencing an object and it is not required anymore, it can be deleted. Okay, so when you are defining a variable, suppose you want to add a value, then you require the three location. One is for a result, another is for the addition. You require the two variables. So you define C equals to A plus B, it is added the number and print the result. Okay. So after your work is over, then there is no requirement to take that memory. You have to free that memory so that that memory will be used by the other purpose. So once your work is over, you have to free that memory of the object by using of garbage collection. The space that is used by the object is released for use by the another object. Garbage collection feature implies that the new objects are created and all the on reference objects are deallocated from the memory. So it is allocate the new memory, and those objects that you are already created and it is not required anymore, you have to delete it. The different approaches used for detecting the garbage collection are: one is reference counting collector, pressing collector, and compacting collector. These are the three approaches are used behind the garbage collection which is working to free the memory of the object. Data type. Data stored in the memory of a computer can be of many types. So why data type is used? Data type defines the type of data that to be stored in your variable. Variable is a memory location where you have to store the value. Then which value you have to store in a memory? That you have to define it. Whether you want to store a numeric value, whether you want to store a decimal value. So that you require what? Data type. It's just like what? Uh, if you want to go to the market to purchase vegetable in a bottle, you cannot take the vegetable. Bottle is a container, but that container is different to take the different value. In the bottle, you can take the liquid product, and when you are having a bag, okay, a marketing bag. In the marketing bag, you can put the potato, you can put the tomato, but in the marketing bag, you cannot bring the petrol. So it is a memory location. But for which purposes it is used, that you have to mention. For taking the vegetable, that container is different. For taking the liquid item, that container is also different. So Java is a strictly type language, which means that Java gives the importance of type checking. The various data type in the Java are: one is primitive data type, a reference data type, and abstract data type. So three type of data type we are using. Primitive data type is called as a built-in data type, means which is already defined in the Java. It is present in the JVM. There are 8 primitive data types are present in the Java, which are further grouped into the following category. One is integer type. It can store whole number and value. Floating point type can store the fractional number. Boolean type can store only the true and false value. Character type can store the symbols such as letters and number. Again, this 4 data type, it is converted into the 8 data type. This 4 group contain the 8 data type. For integer, it contain a byte, short, int, long, and for the default value of integer is 0. For floating point, it contain the float and double. Default value is 0, 0.0, 0, 0.0. For boolean, data type is boolean. Range is true or false. Default value is false. For character, data type is char. Size is 2 byte. Range is a single character. Default value it is contain the null. Okay. Next comes to the default value means what? Default value means if you are not when you are defining a variable, you need to initialize some value. If you are not initialize any value at the time of defining variable, at that time these are the default values initially. For integer 0, for floating point 0, 0.0, and for character it is not. A reference data type, it contains the reference or address of the dynamically created object. Reference data type doesn't hold the value of its own. It contains the address where your value is stored. The default value of a variable that is reference data type is not. Example is object and array. Object having a reference of a class. So as you know that in array, it stores the element in a adjacent memory location. Okay, in a adjacent memory location, the value is stored. So you call the value through the index number 0, 1, and 2. So 0 contains the address. 0 is the address where your 10 is stored. 1 is the address where your 20 is stored. So it doesn't contain the value of its own. It contains the address where your value is stored. Suppose I want to get your friend information where he resides or she resides. So I am not having his or her address. So I am calling you, or I am getting the address from you. So that means what? You are a reference data type. You having a reference to that particular frame. Next comes to the abstract data type. It includes the data type derived from the primitive data type and have more function than the primitive data type. If you see the example, suppose if I define a character is a predefined data type. In character NA, I am able to store only one letter. If I want to store a word, then here I have to give the size. Suppose character NA is 4. Suppose I pass here name. So here what happened? If you want to give more value, then it shows an error because here the length is 5. If you have stored less, then one space is remaining. So that space is occupied by the character. It is not free for the memory. Okay. Then for this problem, instead of writing the char, we are using string data type. So you can store one letter or you can store many letters. Hello. So here there is no requirement to give any kind of size. That is a benefit of your abstract data type. It includes the data type derived from the primitive data type and have more function than the primitive data type. Okay, you can store the digit, character, anything you can store. The keywords available in Java. The keywords is called as the reserved word for a language, which express the language feature. Keyword cannot be used to give a name to a variable or constant or class. But Java is a case-sensitive language, and the keyword should be written in the lowercase only. The keyword with all or some letter in the uppercase can be treated as a variable name, but that should be avoided. So don't give the variable and function name which is based upon the keyword, like abstract, constant, double, finally, public. So variable is what? Now variable is the name that refers to a memory location where some data value is stored. You can assign the different value to a variable during the program execution. In a variable, you can store more than one value. Java allocate the memory to each variable that you use in a program. So it is a memory location where you have to store a value. So when you define a memory, then in that memory, you can store any type of value throughout the program execution. Each variable that is used in a program must be declared first. The naming convention for declaring a variable in the Java, the name of a variable needs to be meaningful. So when you define a variable name, it should be meaningful. Don't give X, Y, Z. A variable name must be unique. A variable name must begin with a letter or underscore or dollar sign. Variable name should not start with a digit. A variable name should not contain any embedded white space. That means if you give a variable student name, so don't give as student then space name. That is incorrect. If you give your 9 student, so you cannot give it. It is error. The valid is what? Which one is the valid? Like student underscore name. Okay, it is a valid. There is no requirement to give any kind of space. So in the variable, you cannot give any kind of space. A variable name should not consist of keyword like public, system. These are the predefined keyword. Int. So you don't give the variable name with a keyword. Variable name in a Java is a case sensitive. This is all about your basics of Java. In next class, we start with the Java program. Thank you.